that should be cool. Thanks, man. I mean, I'm not really ready, but yeah. All right. What's happening? Welcome. Hello. I see some figures, sort of. I need my glasses because it's two reasons. I'm old, and I look better. The less you see my face, it's better for everybody. And two, I got about 3 hours of sleep last night, if that. I want to thank you guys all for coming. I don't know if you guys can see this. There's some people here who were at the venue last night where I DJ'd. But anyways, I'm here at A440 Studios. I want to thank these guys. They really just kicked ass for me. We got this event together literally a few days ago. And these guys put this whole thing together for me. Got me an amp. My good friend here, as you can see, I'm playing my Signature Series guitar, thanks to my buddy here who won it when was that? About a year and a half ago, he won this guitar here. Long story short, my guitar was supposed to be shipped here, and it didn't make it. It is in Nashville right now. So luckily, the proud owner, at least I think he's a proud owner of this guitar, let me borrow my guitar. So that's this guitar here. But yeah, I'm just going to be doing some guitar playing. We wanted to make this kind of a just chill kind of hang thing. If anybody has any questions at all, you know, just keep them to yourself. Yeah, just ask away. You know, anything is, you know, with the music business, with ministry, with the bands I've been in, anything like that. But I, again, can't stress enough, thanks to A440 Studios for making this happen for me. Thanks to Mary, thanks to Alicia, thanks to Ben, my tech who's sleeping over there. And thanks to all of you guys for actually showing up here. It really means a lot. And hello to anybody that may be watching. So, yeah, thank you guys. Really means a lot. I'm always astonished when anybody shows up to anything that I'm doing. So I'm eternally grateful. These fine people here, so check this out. I'll tell you a little story. Yesterday, I was at the Mall of America because that's what I actually love to do when I come to Minneapolis, believe it or not. And I go to the Nestle Toll House place. And you should see the bag of chocolates that's still in the car from last night. And so anyway, so we're walking around the Mall of America, and we went to go eat. And when outside the Hard Rock was my buddy here with his guitar. And he had a little tiny amp. What was your name again? Sean. And so I went up to him and I said, "Hey man, like, what's the deal? Like, are you?" At first, I thought he worked for the Hard Rock because he was like right outside the Hard Rock Cafe. So I was like, "Are you playing or what?" And he had this little tiny amp, and he was telling me that he's learning to play the guitar, and I told him that I'm also learning. And so, and then I met his mother, which is your name, Donna, and they were very, very sweet people. And so I invited them to this thing tonight. So thank you guys for showing up. Here they are. And we'll teach you some stuff. Maybe you'll teach me some stuff. Somebody teach me how to play. I'm still learning. But yeah, does anybody have any questions? Oh, you do work at Hard Rock. I didn't know that. Oh, wow. I didn't know. Hey, am I allowed to curse on this? No? What's that? Oh, don't say that. Do not say that. Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know that, man. That's very cool. Very cool. Yeah. So how long have you been playing or learning? Cool. I'm still trying too. I seem to be faking it.
Plus, I tried to play one of your songs on an app on my phone.
Oh, you did?
Plus, I bought some of the CDs at this plant.
Wow.
I don't remember which ones. It was the one that had the goats on it.
That could be a few of them. Jarvis, which one is that? With the goat on it.
Oh, Animosity.
Animosity Samina? Yeah.
And I heard that you guys did a cover of Bob Dylan song.
Yeah, we did. Lay, Lady, Lay. Yeah. Wow. Very good. I'm impressed. Thank you very much, Sean. I appreciate that. You guys are all right. Anybody here? Want you guys? You guys want to get closer? Like, because I can't see a lot of you. Yeah. Just come on. Just like, we'll make this like a little, like a sleepover or something. Good thing I brought my pajamas. Hey, what's up? Good to see you. There you go. What's up, man? Everything. Yeah, tell me about it. Nice shirt. Oh, I thought it said sin. Never mind. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. How are you? Cool. I'm good. I'm old, but I'm good. Look at that. Look, we're getting the white snake thing happening. Me too. Hold on. Something like that. Yeah, we're turning this into a white snake clinic. So, do anybody have any questions about anything, about the band, about ministry, about? Let's see. I'm in ministry. I'm also in Revolting Cocks, American Head Charge. I played with, and Lords of Acid, a band called Society One, which is the first band that I had a record deal with and toured with, and all that stuff. So, I'll tell you guys a little bit about me if you don't know. I was born and raised in L.A. I've been playing the guitar since I was about 10 years old. And the first band that got me into music was Kiss. And I remember the specific time it happened. I was 6 years old, and my older cousin brought over Kiss Alive, the first live record. And it was like late 75 or something like that. And the first time I heard it, he brought over the record, and I'm sitting there and he's showing it to me, and I was looking at him and I was like, "Are these guys like superheroes?" I was like, "That play music?" And he's like, "No, they're a band. That's just that's how they dress." And so I was like, "All right, cool." So I open it up and it's like that double live record, and there's all these, there's a booklet and pictures and everything like that. And he drops the needle on the record, and the opening riff to the song called Deuce, comes on, and my head just exploded. I was like, my world just completely turned upside down from that moment on. And I was just obsessed with Kiss from that point on. And I mean, I was like, you know, when you're 6 years old, and especially back then, that era, you're looking at the pictures, you're hearing these sounds. Like, I've never heard a band that heavy, and I was just blown away. And every time a solo would come on, I'd be like, who's that? And he's like, oh, that's Ace. And I remember telling him, and he still remembers this as well, I was like, that's what I'm going to do. And that literally was like what changed my life. And from that point on is when I wanted to play guitar. And we really couldn't afford a guitar for a few years, not till I was about 9 or 10. And we were walking around this swap meet in LA, and this guy was walking around with this like beat up guitar and this little beat up amplifier. And I remember I looked at him, and my dad saw that I noticed this guy, and he went up to him and he goes, hey, he goes, did you buy that guitar here? And the guy goes, actually, I'm selling it. And my dad goes, how much? And he goes, give me $20. So I got this guitar, this electric guitar, and this amp for $20. And that was my first electric guitar. And it was a Del Rey guitar. The action was like 2 feet from the neck. So it made my fingers really strong at an early age. And I still have that guitar. And the action is still 2 feet from the neck on it. And so that's the guitar I learned on. And I was about 10, and I took basic guitar lessons. So I learned how to read, very basic stuff. And then towards the end of that year, I just started picking up stuff on my own. And I remember showing up to my guitar teacher, my lesson, and he would always ask me if I'd learned anything that week. And I said, yeah. And I started playing Purple Haze. And he goes, all right, we're pretty much done here. He's like, you're going to have to like go to some other teacher now. Because he just taught basic guitar. And so from that point on, I just kind of was on my own and just like, you know, learned stuff on my own. And then I briefly took lessons from this guy named Chet Thompson, who was one of Randy Rhoads' like star students. And he was just an amazing guitar player, this guy Chet. And I would want to just sell my guitars and cut my wrists every time I'd watch him play guitar because he was so good. Like, I would just want to sell all my gear, and I'm like, yeah, this is pointless for me to even attempt this. But so that was, I was about 13, 14 at that point in time, and then I just continued to just, you know, learn, and I played the saxophone in junior high and high school, and believe it or not, I was in the marching band, and I still have my marching band uniform. I was going to wear it today, but it was a little warm. And yeah, so I was like a band geek. Now I'm just a geek. I guess I'm a band geek. I'm still in a band, so. But yeah, I was like a band guy. Like, I was in marching band, I was in concert band, orchestra, anything that was music related, I was a part of in school, and that was really all I was into. You know, sort of a loner, not very many friends, not very popular, and just music. It was just music for me, obsessed with it. And then at about 19, I started playing the clubs in Hollywood, and you know, did all the Whiskey, the Troubadour, the Coconut Teaser, clubs that aren't even there, and did that for close to 10 years before I got my first record deal. And the band that I got signed with was this band called Society One, and we came out of that sort of new metal scene that was in LA, like when System of a Down was getting signed, and Static and Cold Chamber. Like, those are all buddies of ours from way back that we used to do shows with. And so that was my first record deal, and this is when MTV was still playing music videos and Headbangers Ball, and I was on Headbangers Ball back in the day, and, you know, with Dee Snider like introducing. It was really crazy, and like you know, that's like when I first got endorsements and started to travel and tour the world and stuff like that. And it's just been a constant, you know, hustle and grind, and it hasn't been easy, but I feel like I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I mean, this may not seem like a big thing to some people, but the fact that I'm in Minnesota and you guys are here to see me, I mean, and like we're streaming this thing live, and like That's really like crazy for me because I mean, for a kid from East LA to think that this kind of stuff would ever happen to me is really crazy. So, if any of you guys out there are, you know, pursuing music or want to do anything really, I mean, just stick with it and do it, and don't, if it's in your heart, I mean, continue to do it. Because all I heard was, oh, you're never going to make it. You're never going to get out of LA. You're never going to get a record deal. You're never going to do this and all that stuff. That's all you hear. And at least that's all I heard. And, you know, to be lucky enough to be in ministry and to have Grammy nominations and to tour the world and to do all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's a lot, you know, it's a lot to take in sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't feel real. It still feels like I'm just that kid, you know, listening to Kiss records. And it almost seems like all this stuff after I do things, sometimes I look back and I'm like, did I really just do that? Like, it just doesn't seem real, you know. It's like it's almost like I'm watching a movie or something. Anyways, that's a little background on me, and yeah. Sorry. Anybody have any questions? Rigor Mortis, the band? What about them? I wasn't in Rigor Mortis. That was my very good friend, the late great Mike Scascia, who passed away in 2012. He was in Rigor Mortis. Great band, and Mikey, rest in peace. Amazing guitar player. He was a guitar player in ministry, and outstanding guitar player, very underrated, and an amazing person. So yeah, he was the guy in Rigor Mortis. Any other questions? Any song that what? That I love to play? Ministry song? Yeah, I really like playing all the old stuff. I came into ministry, well, I started working with Al Jorgensen in 2006. And I came in as the touring guitar player for the Revolting Cocks. And that was for the 2006 Revco ministry tour. And I was just a guitar player for Revco. And while on tour, you know, Al and I just started hanging out and talking about music. And after that tour, he asked if I was interested in writing some music for the next ministry record. And so that's how I ended up writing material for the Last Sucker record. So I've been writing music with them since 2006, for 11 years now. And I write a lot of the music for ministry. But I love playing because I'm such an old, diehard ministry fan. Like, I'm always the guy bugging him to play old stuff when we tour. And he hates when I do that. Because it's inevitably, every year, every time we're touring, you know, he asks me, he's like, oh, you know, what do you think we should play or whatever, and he wants suggestions for stuff like that, and I'm always the one suggesting stuff that he does not want to play, but I still bug him about it. And I mean, 2 years ago, he actually broke down, and we ended up playing. There are two songs that I really love playing. A song called "The Missing," and a song called "Deity," and we got to play those two songs back to back, just like on the In Case You Didn't Feel Like Showing Up Live record. So I love playing all that old kind of stuff. Yeah. Any other questions? Hello. Hey, what's happening? I just focused on who it was. No questions? You guys want to hear something? Cool, me too. Who's playing? All right. I'm gonna play a song called "Watch Yourself," which was written by the late great Paul Raven and myself and Al Jorgensen, and it's on the Last Sucker record. So check it out. I usually play standing up, but I'm really tired today. Turning it into like a Grateful Dead kind of thing here. So. Thank you. How's the level on everything? Is everything cool? Is everything even? Guitar and track? Yeah. That was the first time I ever played that song. Now let me tune here. This is a cool place, isn't it? This is really cool, guys. I am very impressed.
We'll do more stuff.
Cool, man. Shit, I might move in here. And we'll shoot like a episode of Cribs or something. All right, so that song was called Watch Yourself, and like I said, it was from our 2008 record, 2007 Last Sucker record, which was the first album that I wrote songs for Ministry. And shortly after that, we did a world tour, which was supposed to be our last tour 9 years ago. And I get asked about that tour a lot because, you know, it was billed as the last ever Ministry tour, and we did go into it thinking it was the last tour. It wasn't like you know, some sort of marketing thing. Al's health was not well, and you know, he was really in no position. He didn't want to continue doing it anymore. He just wasn't, you know, feeling like he could. So we really thought that was the last run. And thank God it wasn't, you know. After that tour, he went back to El Paso, where he was living at the time, and, you know, was in the hospital. He had a lot of health issues. He had, like, bleeding ulcers that he didn't even know of, and just crazy stuff happening. So he got healthy. And I think that was about the time, while he was recovering, I wrote and recorded a couple of Revolting Cocks, or Revco for short, records. And I did a tour with Revco in 2009. And then, did we play here on that run, Jarvis? Do you remember?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we did somewhere. That was the 06 tour. That was the Masturbate tour. That was the 2006 was the Masturbate tour. 2008 was the See You Late tour. Yeah, we always have cool names. And yeah, 2009 it was just the Revolting Cocks tour. And then in 2010 I went out. I played at Ground Zero with Lords of Acid, which was a lot of fun. And then I joined American Head Charge, which are local guys and good friends of mine. And I had been a fan of American Head Charge for many years, so I was glad to get that call. And I think I did 2 tours with them, like 2011, 2012 or something like that. And I remember being, we were playing, it might have been Iowa or Wisconsin, I don't know, one of those places. And I'm walking towards the stage, because at this point, Ministry was on hiatus. Like, there was nothing going on with Ministry. So I remember walking towards the stage, and I had my cell phone with me, and it's ringing, and I pick it up, and it's Ministry's old management. And they're like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm about to go on stage." And they're like, "Well, we're doing another record, and you know, we want to use some of the music, some of my music." So I was like, "Cool." So did that tour, and then went back to the studio with Ministry after that, and that's what ended up turning into our Relapse record. And I wrote a song called Double Tap for that record, which was pretty brutal song. And it's about, like, the BPM on that is like over 200 something. So it's really fast. And I had written that song originally for the 2007 Last Sucker record, but it just didn't make that album. So we shelved it, and then for Relapse, we decided to use it. And that tune, I don't know why I wrote it. Like, I regretted writing it in a way because it makes like my right arm look like Popeye, like after I rehearsed that song. And yeah, it was just brutal recording that in the studio, being in the studio doing that song. Because basically what happens is when I go into the studio, I'll record all the guitars and sometimes the bass as well. And then sometimes I'll do keyboards as well. But it just depends on what I'm bringing to the table. But for, like, say for Double Tap, so I record that song, and it's just, I made it super, it's like 215 or 218 is the BPM on that, right? And so what we do is we record one guitar, one amplifier, and then we pan that left, right? And so I'll do the whole song like that. And, when you're recording, for those of you that have recorded before, it's not always one take. It's hours and hours of doing stuff, and you finally get it right. So one guitar, one amplifier, panned left. Then get another guitar, another amplifier, do the exact same thing, and you have to match it perfectly, and that gets panned right, okay? So we double them always. And then third guitar, third amplifier, right up the middle. So there's 3 guitars that I'll do minimum on a Ministry song. That's just minimum. And sometimes we double all of that as well. So there's 6 guitars. So when you hear our records and it sounds fucking heavy as hell, like, that's why. There's like, imagine 6 of me up there. That's a lot of weight. So, and then sometimes like we'll do certain parts that sound really beefy and low and heavy. It's, I'll do a whammy pedal with an octave down, and then we double those. And, your playing has to be extremely clean when you're recording. Like, it has to be spot on perfect. So after recording Double Tap for like 2 days, it's like I couldn't even like wear certain t-shirts anymore because like it was like the Hulk on my right arm, but my left arm looked like olive oil. So yeah, that song is the one I wrote for Relapse, and we've never played it live. We rehearsed it for the 2012 tour, but it was just too. Everybody was just like, okay, let's pick another song. And when I say everybody, I mean Al. He didn't like that song, and so yeah, that's kind of what the writing process is like for Ministry as well. But it's really cool that Al gives me a lot of freedom in the studio. I'll tell you guys, the very first time I was in the studio with Al. So this is after the 2006 Revolting Cocks Ministry tour. So again, I was just a guitar player in Revco at the time. After that tour, Ministry went on to Europe, and I stayed home. And that's when I got the call, and he was like, hey, do you want to write some songs for the next Ministry record? So I started like writing some riff ideas and stuff, and on my old Tascam 4-track recorder, which I still have, which I love. And so I wrote some riffs, and Ministry comes back from Europe. They fly me to El Paso, and they pick me up at the airport, and I have my bags, and they take me right to the studio. And I literally have my luggage with me, and I'm like standing in the studio, and Al's like, you ready to record a solo? And I was like, sure. And I go, what do you have? And he goes, I have one song idea. He had written this one song called Die in a Crash. And I'd never heard it. I just got there. And so he goes, play it for him. So they play me the song like 2 times. And he goes, are you ready? And I was like, sure. And it's like, I'm like holding my bags and shit. And they just like sit a guitar on me, and they plug me in. And they let it rip. And I just improvised a guitar solo. And right after it, he comes over to me, and he like picks me up, and he gives me a hug, and he kisses me, and he goes, that was perfect. And I was like, that was horrible, man. I'm like, I'll get it. And he goes, nope, that's it. I'm like, dude, let me let me record it properly and let me hear it a couple times. He's like, nope, that was fucking perfect. And sure enough, that recording is that what you hear on that record, that it's the first take, that solo. And so that was my introduction to being in the studio with Al. And which is kind of cool. I mean, it was sometimes your best performances are under pressure like that, and sometimes you try to recreate things and it just doesn't have that magic sometimes, So after that, he says, all right, he goes, so tomorrow, he goes, we'll start on your ideas. We'll check out your ideas. And so the next day I show up to the studio with my 4-track recorder, and he goes, let me hear what you got. And so I play him this, actually I played him, this was the riff that I had. And that was the riff that I had written. And that, he heard it, and he goes, perfect. He goes, let me know when it's done. And he leaves. And so I'm sitting in the studio with the engineer who I just met. And I'm like, okay, so I guess we just get to work. And I recorded the music for this song, which turned into a song called Death and Destruction on that Last Sucker record. And that was the first song that I wrote for that album. And when I went into it, I honestly was hoping that just one of my riffs would just end up on a Ministry record. I was like, shit, that would just be amazing to me. Like, that would just make my life. And I ended up writing half of that record. So I did that song, Death and Destruction, and recorded all day. And I did all the guitars, I did the bass, and I did some of the programming, the keyboard programming. And the next day he shows up and he listens to it, and he's like, it's great. He's like, what else you got? And I think I had, the next one was a song that turned into a song called The Dick Song, which was about Dick Cheney, actually. And I, same thing, did the whole thing, recorded that, and so that was the second song I wrote for that album, and then the third, and it just went on like this, every few days and stuff. And so I wrote a song called Life Is Good for that record, which ended up on one of the Saw movie soundtracks as well. And then I wrote a song, Al was actually in the studio this time with me, and I was sitting around, and I was just going I was doing this. And he was like, hey man, he's like, what is that? And I was like, oh, it's just an idea that I'm working on. He goes, oh, we'll continue to work on that. He goes, I like that. And that turned into a song called Let's Go, which ended up being the first song on the Last Sucker record. And we ended up opening the set with that song on that tour. And of the newer Ministry batch of songs, when I say that, in the last 10 years or so, it turned into a really big sort of crowd favorite. And but it just came literally just from, this is what it ended up turning into. which we still play. We did it on this last run. So yeah, it was like, it went from me hoping that a riff would end up on a record to, you know, being on that whole album, which was really awesome. And yeah, it's just been like that ever since. Every time we're in the studio, we're writing music. He gives me a lot of freedom, which is really cool. And we've really only had, I think, one blowout in the 11 years, and it was in the studio. But you know, that kind of shit happens, and I would imagine it happens with everybody. You know, with whenever there's creative differences and stuff, and a lot of alcohol. You know, I'd imagine things like that happen. But yeah, it's been pretty cool. Being in this band and being able to write so much music. You know, for every album, I always end up writing a lot of music. And that's something that I always try to tell people, especially, you know, young musicians and stuff. I always try to encourage writing. I never really learned to play cover songs growing up because I always, even at an early age, I just started to focus on writing my own stuff. And, you know, however horrible it was back then, and might still be, it's what saved me and separated me from a lot of guys that, you know, were just cover guys or just guitar players, which is nothing wrong with that, but I wanted to have some type of longevity, and I just sort of knew that that was the way to go. So with every band that I've been in, I always wrote. And, you know, thank God. The downside to that is it's always a bummer for me to jam with people because I don't know how to play any cover songs. Like, I don't know. Like, there's little kids that come up and play cover songs better than I do. And I'm just like, fuck, man, teach me. And so, yeah, I don't know how to play. Like, obviously I can hear something and pick it up. But, like, jamming and stuff. And, you know, I have tons of friends that play in cover bands and stuff like that. And they're just like, oh, do you know this? You know that? Come up and sit in and whatever. And I'm like, dude, I'll just come up and sit. Like, you guys play, man, because I don't know any cover songs. So, yeah, that was the downside to that. But, you know, a lot of those guys, when I was a teenager that, you know, learned cover songs, just ended up in cover bands. And that's all they did. And they were guys that wanted to play and wanted to make it, you know, but they never, like, really developed writing or all the other bullshit that comes along with doing this, because it's a lot of work, it's a lot of hustle, it's a lot of sacrifice. And I always tell people it's about 25% talent and like 75% everything else that goes along with it, because it's really it's a tough business, and you got to be willing to sacrifice a lot to do this. Obviously you got to have some talent, but not very much. I mean, look at me. But anybody have any questions? Anything? Yes.
It's great to have somebody who's really cool do something like this.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate that. Again, you guys, I mean, the fact that anybody shows up whenever I do something really means a lot. So I applaud you guys for being here. Really, it really means a lot to me. So thank you. Thank you.
What would you call your most proud moment in music and your worst moment?
I mean, there's so many like things that stick out in my mind. A big moment for me was probably when I played the Hollywood Bowl in LA with Cheap Trick, and it was what it was is like I think it was 2007 or 2008. I don't remember. It was the 40th anniversary of the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's album, and Cheap Trick got asked to do this event for it at the Hollywood Bowl, and they're good friends with Al from Chicago. And Rick has been on a few of our records, and so we know those guys. So they called us up. We were in the studio in El Paso at the time, and they said, "Hey, we're doing this Beatles Sgt. Pepper thing. We want you and Sin to come out and do a song with us." And so we said, yeah, absolutely. So we ended up doing I Want You, She's So Heavy. And I had to learn the fucking song, of course, because Al was just like, learn it. And so I learned the song, and it was like, and I actually had to do an arrangement that we were gonna do because we changed it up a little bit, and we had like the symphony behind us and everything as well. So I'm in El Paso, and I'm learning this song, and do the arrangement. We recorded it, sent it to them, then sent it to the conductor so he could chart it out and everything. And then they flew us to Burbank to rehearse with Cheap Trick. And so while we're out there, the first night sells out at the Hollywood Bowl, so they add a second night. And you know, that's capacity is like 18,000 at the Bowl. And so we're at rehearsal, and there's a little funny story leading up to it. We're at rehearsal, and it's the guys in Cheap Trick, which I'm a big fan of, you know. And I'm standing next to Tom Peterson, and just in awe. I'm still remembering being a kid listening to Live at Budokan, you know, and I'm just like, am I really fucking standing here next to Tom Peterson? Like, it's just blowing my mind, right? And so I'm admiring his bass, and he comes over and he goes, hey man, he goes, oh, you like my bass? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, oh, come over here. And he walks me around the rehearsal facilities where Michael Jackson had just been rehearsing. Like, it's like this airplane hangar. And so he walks me over to this like wall, and he opens it up, and he's got like 30 of those exact basses in every color you could think of. And I'm just like, wow. And they're each like 10, 15 grand. Like, it was ridiculous. So anyways, so we start rehearsing the song, and it was, let's see if I can remember it. You know, it was that tune. So I'm playing that, right? And we start playing it. And Rick Nielsen, like, starts waving his arms. And he's across from me. And he goes, whoa, 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 whoa. And he points at me, and he goes, what are you playing there? And I was like, oh, my fucking God. Like, I'm fucking the song up, right? Like, I'm like, I wanted just, like, I felt like just disappearing at that point. And he, like, walks over, and he goes, what are you playing there? And so I showed him the chords, and he turns over to Bobby, which is they have a backup acoustic guy who like kind of sits in the back. And he goes, hey, Bobby, he goes, come here. He goes, Sin figured out how to do that chord we were cheating on. I swear to God. And I was like, whew. And so he gets his phone out, and he videotapes me playing that. And he goes, Sin, you're the first guy to give me a guitar lesson. And I was just relieved. And so anyway, so we do rehearsals. They're great. And to answer your proudest moment thing, that was like my big sort of hometown show. But I was most proud that my mom was there, because my mom has been my biggest inspiration, and has had my back, you know, my entire life, and has supported me my entire life in doing this. And she was there when, you know, I first started playing backyard parties, you know, when I was like 16, 17, and she was there at the fucking Troubadour when there was 2 people there. And I mean, she literally, every time there's an LA show, she's there, and she's always in the front. If she were here right now, she would be right here. I'm not joking, with an I Love Sin shirt. I swear to God, like, that's how awesome my mom is. And so she's always there, and she's been there every one of those shows. So for me, it was a big thing to have her there, and, you know, sort of see the whole end result, to go from, you know, from the swap meet $20 guitar to being on a stage, you know, with Cheap Trick and the symphony. And yeah, so that was probably my proudest moment. What was the question? Least? Oh. You know, I can't say that I have a moment that I'm not proud of, because to me it's all part of the process, and it's all part of doing what we do. I could tell you the most embarrassing moment. We were it was the 2008, no, 2012 tour. And we had just finished the U.S. run, got on a plane, flew to Helsinki, Finland, went right to the festival to play. And I was just like, I mean, sleep deprivation was just like, you know, through the roof. So I was up on stage at the Tuska Open Air Festival, and it was like, it was, I mean, small, intimate, 50,000 people. And I fell on my ass on stage, like legs up in the air, like it was ridiculous. And so up on stage we're playing, and I walked off to the side of, you know, those like walkways on those huge stages, and so I'm walking backwards, and I stepped on a cable, and then I stepped on another cable. And all of a sudden, I feel myself going down. But I wanted to save my guitar. So I turned, and I'm still playing. And I turned, and I literally felt like I'd scraped all this up. And I fell sort of on my side. And I literally just went back, and my legs were up in the air. And I'm still playing. And so now I'm on the side. Like, I'm on my side, laying down. And my fucking guitar tech is just laughing at me. Like, instead of coming over to like help me, he's like. So I like rolled myself up, and I got up, and then I continued to play, and I was just like, well, yeah. What are you gonna do? You know. At least there was only 50,000 people there to witness that. So that was probably one of my most embarrassing moments. Yeah. Any other questions? What do you do, man? Yeah. What do you do besides wear cool Sun Records t-shirts? You work in what? Semiconductors. So you got a real job. Right on. You play? That makes two of us. What's that? Awesome. Cool. Absolutely. Absolutely, man. No, it's true. I mean, I see that from touring all over the world, man. You know, people that don't speak the language come up, and there's a connection, and, you know, it's all with music. So, any other questions? Any other semiconductor workers here? Good. You want to hear another song? How we doing on time? Oh, damn. Oh, look at the time. Let me see what else I got here. All right. Let's try this one. This one is kind of just a straight rhythm thing. Ministry, for those of you that know, is pretty right hand, right arm rhythm heavy band. So, yeah, I'll do a song called No W. How are you?
Despicable acts of terror.
Damn, that was fast. Thank you. I don't know why we write such fast songs. They're getting slower. We do have a new ministry record coming out, and I might play you a new song if you guys are good. If you guys behave. Yeah, we have a new ministry record that's supposed to be out in October sometime, I think. And it's called Americant. And we just wrote it. We've been writing it for the past 6 months or so, something like that, 6 to 8 months. And it's really fucking cool. I know everybody says that, but this is really, it's not as fast as some of our previous albums, thank God. And but it you know, I'm very proud of this album, very proud of the material, not just because I wrote a lot of it. Al was really cool in the studio. He was very hands-on. He brought a lot of stuff to the table, and we brought in instruments that we've never used on ministry albums before. And it's a very, the people that have heard it keep telling us it's very Dark Side of the Spoon, Filth Pig, Psalm 69. Like if you blend that together, that's kind of what this sounds like. So, yeah, that should be out in October. And we've been playing one of the new songs on this last tour live. So I think I'll be allowed to play it for you guys, and I won't get sued by my own band. I won't have to sue myself. Is that you over there, Ben? Everybody say hi to Ben. Ben is he's from El Paso, Texas, and he's a very good friend of mine, and he is the guy that does all of the visuals for the ministry tours. That's the guy right there. And he does all my flyers. So more importantly, he does all my flyers. But no, he and I have been very good friends for how many years, Ben? How many? So, whatever he said. That's how long we've been friends. There you go. Yeah. So yeah, Ben traveled out here just to hang with me this weekend, just to go to Ground Zero with me last night, and you know, be here for this event at A440 Studios. So yeah, big round of applause. You guys want to hear another song, or does anybody have any questions? You have a question? No. Not for this band. I do. I mean, I play all kinds of stuff. But for the ministry is that kind of band, you know. The new record has some different stuff on it. But it's, you know, with most metal, it's power chord stuff, and, you know, it comes from that. Absolutely. I used to play classical guitar. I took classical guitar for many years. I'm teaching myself how to play the banjo now. I play the saxophone. I play drums. I play some keyboards. But it's not all this. But this is for this, you know, type of stuff when I'm doing a ministry kind of thing. Yeah, it's this kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm always trying to learn. I'm always trying to do stuff. I'm more of a blues-based guitar player. Like I grew up with Hendrix, Trower, Gary Moore, those kind of guys, you know, Jeff Beck, Fraley. I'm not a arpeggio sweep guy. The only time I sweep is when I have a broom and I'm sweeping my house. Nothing wrong with those guys. Nothing wrong with guys that play that stuff. I think that's great, but it's just not what I grew up listening to. You know, I'm very pentatonic based and very blues based. So yeah, but yeah, I'm always striving to learn. I took classical I was 16, 17. I took 2 years at the local college over in Burbank of actual classical guitar, and it's a very disciplined style of playing. You know, you have to have a certain type of guitar. You have to sit a certain way. Your nails on your right hand have to be a certain length. You have to hold your hands, both hands, in certain positions. It's very, very, it's a very trained type of guitar playing, you know. But, yeah, I sold my soul for rock and roll. So, yeah, thank you for the question, though. Any other questions? Good? How are you? You made it. Not working the door today. Cool. Thank you. What's up? What's that? Yeah, I know. It's a cool spot, right? Yeah, might have to like throw some other shindigs here or something. Pretty cool. Yes.
So you guys always play with words when you're titling stuff.
Yes.
Is that,
We're bored.
yeah, right. Whose idea is that? You guys all
Al's. It's mainly Al's, but we, you know, for being such a political sort of band, there is this sense of humor to us that, I mean, people don't even know all the tongue-in-cheek shit that we do and say, and sometimes people think we're being serious, and we're just laughing at shit, you know, and it's always a play on words with us. Exactly. Houses of the Mole, which that song I played, I think, was on Houses of the Mole. So yeah, we're always, you know, there's always a play on words, and it's very. I don't think people realize what like the sense of humor that Al has, because I think people sometimes see him as, you know, that political guy and whatever. But yeah, that's definitely a big thing with us. Any other questions? Want to hear something else? All right, let's see what we got. Ugh. Another fast song. All right, I'm going to do a song. Let me rephrase that. I'm going to attempt to do a song called Rio Grande Blood. Yeah, no woo for me. You play it. You play it, then I'll woo. Which I don't normally do a lead on this, so I'm just going to, you know, wing it here. But this is off of the Rio Grande Blood record.
And now, a message from the President of the United States, George W. Bush.
Adopted sophisticated terrorist tactics, and I'm a dangerous, dangerous man with dangerous, dangerous weapons. I want to drain the coal resources in America and foreign sources of crude oil. I have a weapon of mass destruction. I'm a brutal dictator. I'm evil.
I got something that I must confess.
Thank you. I can't even lift my arm right now to do that. Oh, God. I'm glad we slowed down on this record. Not going to lie. Every year it gets a little bit harder and harder. So that was Rio Grande Blood from the Rio Grande Blood record. Okay. Anybody else have any questions, comments? Yes. Join ministry. Metronome and up and down picking. What I used to do is I had a metronome and I would practice up and down picking at a certain BPM, and until it was easier and easier and easier, and then slowly start increasing that. As far as the brutal up and down picking and shit, I was always like, in LA before I joined ministry and some of the other bands that I was in like thrash bands and stuff like that, and they were heavy, but holy shit, when I got into ministry, and they gave me like the set list to learn, I was like, fuck, like it was brutal. It took me like 2 weeks of intense, just hours and hours a day to really get your right arm into shape. And when we tour, typically ministry rehearses for about a month before a tour, and prior to that, each of us individually usually rehearse a couple weeks on our own, just getting ready for rehearsals. And so it's about 6 weeks that we're developing this, because it's really intense. And so then we go on tour, and then it takes about another week or so for the band to really kind of gel and really for it to sound like a machine. And then we go off the road, and then when I pick up my guitar again to try to attempt to play one of these songs, it just doesn't want to do it. And so it takes a while to get back up to speed again. It's something that you kind of have to. The longer you do it, the less recovery time, if that makes any sense. Like the less time you need to get back up to speed. But it does require some practicing and stuff like that. Yes. When I'm on stage with the ministry, what I use? What I typically use, this is actually, for those of you that don't know, this is my signature series guitar. It's a Schecter Quirin V1. It was helped designed by Ben over there. Actually, it was the one that helped me do this graphic right here. Ben is attached to that couch or chair today. So anyways, I use this guitar for ministry always, and then I go, I'm endorsed by Black Star amplifiers, and my amps are Series 1 Black Star 100 watt heads or 200 watt heads, depending on how loud we want to go. But that's typically my rig is my guitar, my Black Star Series 1 100 watt head. As far as pedals go, I have a fairly basic chain. It's not very complex. I don't typically use a lot of effects. Certain ministry songs require a lot of effects, but then the majority just don't. So I have, obviously, my tuner. I have a whammy pedal, which I use just for the solo for one song, the song called Punch in the Face. And then I use a Dunlop Crybaby. And then I have this brand new pedal that It's going to be hard to describe to you guys. If you guys at all are on any of my social media, Facebook stuff, you can see the pedal on there. It's a brand. My guitar tech makes pedals, and he's like a genius. He's one of those like gifted guys that, you know, can like tear something down and then build it back up and shit like that. And he designs pedals, and he designed this booster gain for me for my solos, and the pedal is called the Hortex Vortex, and you'll just have to look at the picture to really get it. But that's my booster pedal, and then I think that's I use a carbon copy delay, and I think that's it. That's pretty much all I use in my chain of pedals. So it's pretty straightforward. Ministry doesn't use a lot of guitar effects. We have this one song called "So What," and for that track I use like my delay and reverb sometimes. But other than that, we're pretty straightforward, and we're pretty just like, I don't use an external distortion pedal or anything like that. My distortion comes right from the head, right from my Black Star, which will rip your head off, as my good friend Jarvis here has heard. Those heads are just unbelievably ballsy. Yes. The fastest song I've ever played? I wish I could play that. No, probably Double Tap, which is like 220 or 218, 220 or something like that. Yeah, which I won't be playing today. I would play it for you guys, but it's in drop C, so I'm tuned to drop D right now. So shucks. Yeah. Any other questions?
Has any, I've seen this at a concert.
Yeah.
When was that? They were touring with Alice Cooper, but at Final Tour we saw religious groups.
Uh-huh.
Now Alice Cooper is a Christian.
Yes.
Now has any people showed up at a ministry concert?
Yes.
Any people?
Oh, yes.
But you know, if people could see that bands are not Satanists.
Yeah, it's funny because I always get, I mean, there's always protesters at, you know, not all of our shows, but some of our shows. But what's funny is the guys that show up with the God hates sin posters. And I always take pictures with them. And I have some posted on my Facebook, actually. But, yeah, we get those people all the time. And they'll see me walking towards them, and they're always like, "Yes, brother, well, you know, welcome, thank you." And I'm like, "Dude, that's my name, dude. Like, thanks for the advertisement here, man." And like, they always get pissed because I'm trying to take pictures with them, and like, I'm always giving them the horns and stuff, and yeah. What's that? Yeah, of course. Yeah. But but we do get those protesters sometimes, you know. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So that is funny, though. Any other questions? What's the matter, Mary? You look like I'm about to get yelled at. I can do, well, check it out. Let me see what I have left, okay? Jesus. I feel like I've been talking for hours. Yeah, just tell me to shut up. They have been. Now, you know what happens is you guys can't see it, but this finger, my right hand, when I'm on tour, this nail breaks off, and I wear out this part of my skin. Yeah, it's grown back now, but I don't know if you can really tell. You see how it looks kind of shiny there? That's because there's no skin there. And that's from the constant playing. And oftentimes I'm playing so fast that it's not even the pick that's hitting the strings. And so there's blood that ends up all... Yeah, my guitar tech loves cleaning up my blood off my pickups and guitar and shit like that. So, Yeah, that happens all the time. Yeah, not a big deal. Let me see. I think that might be it. Everything else, I honestly, what I have is in drop C. So yeah, I think we're good, Mary. Let's get some tacos. So anyways, thank you guys. What are we doing? Tell me what we're doing here. Oh, okay, cool. Hey, I have like, I don't know if any, I mean, you guys can use these as dartboards or whatever, but I have like 8x10 pictures, and I have guitar picks if anybody wants any guitar picks. You can you can put them on eBay and get like $20 for them. Hold on, I have pretty good aim. I throw a curve, so. Yeah. Okay, so you ready? Again, huge thanks to A440 Studios for making this happen. Really appreciate you guys. This is a great facility. They really pulled it together, the whole video thing, and letting us use this space. They did it in a matter of days, so thanks a ton, guys. Thank you to my buddy Steve. Scott? Sorry. Scott, this is his guitar, and he let me borrow it, so thank you very much, man. Or else I'd be playing air guitar up here. I'd be going, watch, look at me go. Thank you to Sarah. Sorry, I can't see. Thank you to Sarah. This is my photographer for the day. And guys, just so you know, everybody is doing all this for free, like just on their own. Growth Music as well for letting me borrow these pedals. There's another Fender. There's a backup Fender guitar here that they let me borrow. Yeah, everybody here is just donating their time. So except me, I'm getting paid. No, I'm not. I'm really not. I'm honestly just doing this just because I wanted to do something for everyone while I'm here in Minneapolis. So, yeah. Everybody here donated their time, so that really means a lot. Thank you to Mary. She's the one that made this happen, this event happen here. What's that? Bumblebee, yes, exactly. That's the name of the company, right? Bumblebee Concierge. That's Mary's company here. Thanks to Alicia, wherever she is. I don't know where Alicia is. She's probably pantsless somewhere at some bar. But yeah, Alicia is the one that makes the my DJ events happen for me, and she books me, and she does all that hustle and legwork for me, and she does a lot for me. So, big round of applause to Alicia. And my buddy Jarvis here from Ground Zero, and all my Ground Zero people here that showed up. And Ben, of course, who's sleeping. So, yeah, am I missing anybody? No? We're good? Oh, yeah, thank you very much for the amp. What was your name again?
I'm TJ. I'm at Growth Music.
Oh, you're at Growth. Oh, okay. Oh, awesome. So check it out. So we had this Mesa Boogie amp here earlier, and it fried. Like, literally, like we plugged it in, and it went... And it went wah, wah, wah. And so my man here, this is his own personal amplifier. So because of him, I was able to play today. So thank you very much, man. Yeah. So thanks to all the guys here, everybody in the crew here. Thank you guys very much. I really appreciate this, guys, and hopefully you guys had fun. I mean, I'm sticking around and signing and getting tacos and whatnot. So yeah, and if anybody wants pics or anything, just come up and say hey. Let me know. All right. Thank you guys very much. I told you. See, I got good aim. Anybody want to pick? Hold on, let me practice my aim here. You guys are really close. I'm used to like really long distances. That was on purpose. That wasn't by accident. I'm a professional. I've been doing this for years. See, what's funny is people think that it's not going to go towards them because it goes like this, but then I throw like a Clayton Kershaw curve. See? Did you get one? You got one? Everybody get one that wants one? Look at that. Right in the cleavage. Thank you. No, I'm good with water. I need the air, though. Everybody got one? Yeah? Oh, wait. Well, I can just play it for you guys, even if we're not on. That's fine. Oh, shit. All right, I'll play it. Never mind. No, I'll play. You guys want to hear a new Ministry song? Okay. I'm not gonna play the guitar though. I'm gonna play it for you. Okay. If I can find it. Might be in the trash bin. What is it? Okay, here we go. Sorry.
The term Antifa, short for anti-fascist, an organization which has a violent history in Europe and South America, but has largely been unknown in the United States until very recently. They're the ones responsible for Trump's supporters being beaten by gangs, setting fire to cars, gathering rifles, men, melting women with eggs, and smashing in windows and ATMs. The group's compromising Antifa consider the many people across the country who voted Trump into office to be literally Nazis. They were revolutionary